I am now joined by one of the biggest supporters of Donald Trump, one of the most successful stories of Indian Americans, a man who has done very well in both hotel and real estate and a whole host of other businesses as well. Danny Gaekwad, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV.
Thank you very much for getting me on NDTV.
First question I want to ask you, sir, is you are one of the biggest supporters of Donald Trump. He has got a huge victory, a popular mandate also under him, and also, of course, the Electoral College victory. How did you, first of all, tell me you celebrated this victory? How did you do that?
So I feel like I was in a college election because this is the third time in my life I'm supporting same person, which is very unique for myself. Every time you get two chances to support presidential, you know. So I stayed up till 4 a.m. I wanted to make sure everything goes well, just crossing fingers, talking to friends. My wife was equally excited. She don't participate much in process, but she was so intrigued by the hard work of Trump that she and her old friends were at my house and they were like, wow, cheering. So we were up till 4 a.m. and then we fall asleep.
Of course. You know Mr. Trump very well. Explain to us, talk to us about how you think his administration this time around will be different from Trump's earlier administration in 2016.
So here's the thing. If you ever meet Trump in person, you will see by God two different Trump. One Trump is as casual as anybody you met in your life, really, one on one. And he cracks more jokes, and this is no lie, than any stand-up comedian. He has so many good things to say. He's so relaxed. He'll ask you, you want to stand, you want to sit, you want to talk. But most of the time, he will entertain you. And this is no lie to you. He will entertain you by different jokes and this, even though topic is serious. I had many occasions, I sat one-on-one with him, with the other very big dignitaries like governors and his staff, which is chief of the staff and like that. But he is totally different animal. Then another Trump you see on a television is completely different. So once you know him, you start gravitated to him because he's a very simple, common guy. He can take anybody's suggestion and put it in a motion. He's not very
Okay.
administrative type and a red tape. Talk to my secretary. He not. He controls. Tell me, what do you want? How do you want? What can I do? What's better for America?
Okay. So clearly, his approach towards problem solving, as you say, has found a lot of connect with the Americans, which is why he's had such a landslide victory. In his second administration, what do you think would be the key areas that he will focus on, or areas that you think India needs to be very clear on that these are the top two or three areas where Donald Trump is likely to focus on and how it could impact India?
His big focus is in immigration, which will benefit Indian immigration because we don't do illegal immigration. We don't do border crossing and all that. Second thing in his mind, I have personally talked to him previously, not now, many months ago. He's very clear to have a merit-based immigration. Means if there is a person who is valuable to America, he has studied hard, he is highly educated, he should be given visa chance rather than anybody coming illegal. He is deadly against illegal immigration. You saw he spent all of his time in a first administration to build the wall, if you recall. And they won't give him just $5 billion. And they now spend more than $1 trillion to settle this new wave of immigrants. Immigrants are always welcome, but legally, not illegally. That is his stand. So India will benefit because India does legal immigration. We have highly educated kids in the IT, which I also own the IT company, so I can tell you that. There is a highly educated doctors, engineers and all that. So it will nothing but benefit India on his immigration policy. Nobody else will benefit more than us. He don't believe in a quotas and all that. He believes if you're better for America, you are better for this, please welcome. but come legally. So that's number one. Number two, remember, Donald Trump is not elected for India. He is elected to fix America, which we are really in a trouble for a very long time. Really, really trouble since he left the office. So his policy will be driven how to make a betterment for America. It will be unwise to think that Donald Trump is elected by Indian Americans. Donald Trump is elected by Americans. He's for America. His all the agendas will be for America. And he
So you
never
are a very
lied.
powerful voice in the Indian American community. You're a very powerful voice in the Indian American community. I thought you will say that this community is now extremely significant in the political calculations of America.
So here is your few issues with the Indian American. We only worry about the president and all that, but we have to worry about the Congress. We have to worry about the Senate, how they form the rules, what kind of you know policies they're gonna come out. President do not create any policies. The Congress does it, Senate approves it, and president endorse it. Usually they work with the president hand in hand. But it is not like India that one guy gets up and move in the mornings and fix everything. No, it is a value machinery. You saw it. The entire media was against him. 97%. They say he's this, he's that, he's gonna kill. I just don't know where they're coming out from. But I'm sure American people understood and they voted for him. But they didn't voted for him. They voted him landslide. Unbelievable. It is even I
Yes.
didn't imagine. I knew he will win, but not like this. Almost I was watching this
Yes.
morning. 1,000 counties had he had a lead. Can you imagine that? 1,000 of counties, not few thousand.
Yes.
So it's just the mandate is clear. He promised to Americans to fix America. Okay, what is our benefit? If he fixes China, India is absolute.
Yes.
But we should be ready to take care of that benefit. We cannot
Are you
wait.
think? Do you think he'll fix China? Do you think he'll fix China?
110%. He never lied about it. And I'll tell you, my very personal friend, personal, who may be the Senate president, he has passed so many mandates against China. He was my ex-governor of Florida, and now he's a senator. He had nothing but China. Just last month, they passed the law that no medicine from China can be bought by any defense department. That is just a one step. Can you imagine opportunity so huge for India? Whether it's a
Yes.
semiconductor, whether it's pharmaceutical, anything. If we can compete in the world, this is the next 4 years, we must compete.
Hmm. Indeed. You mentioned that we should be ready to be able to exploit the opportunity if it comes. I'm going to come to that in a bit. But first thing I want to ask Mr. Gaekwad is the fact that coming back to the Indian American community, as someone who's a very significant member of this community, tell us, did the community this time around back Donald Trump in a major way? Because some of the polls indicated that there is a shift that has taken place from the Democrat camp to the Republican side. Did you see that? Has that happened?
I can tell you this, the last election, it was 80-20. 80% Indians always voted for Democrat. Whether this election, last election, before. I do not have numbers as of today. It's only less than, few hours, maybe 20 hours or less. I do not have the numbers, but I will share with you that how Indian Americans have voted. Last in 2022 election, it was very little voting done by Indians. They don't go and vote, they talk, but they never act. That's my problem. We should, every vote should count. I must have called 1,000 plus people personally and in my groups of at least 100 that please vote. Whether you vote Democrat or Republican, vote because your vote counts. We don't vote, we talk. That's our problem.
Hmm.
But this election, I personally think, the way I have received 500 to 1,000 messages, looks like Indian did participate very well. And I saw this morning
That's good to
numbers
know.
from the Jewish coalition that 45% first time Jewish people vote for Trump, which is really ungodly number because they realize what is
Yeah.
on the stake. We have not realized what can be on the stake.
That's very significant. And yes, we wait for some of those numbers to come in. Then let me ask you one thing that as someone who knows Mr. Trump very well, how important do you think his bonhomie, his camaraderie with Prime Minister Modi be in taking some of those measures, which many feel could be difficult for India as well? If he starts putting those tariffs, the Indian industry will also be impacted. But how significant do you think Donald Trump's equation with Prime Minister Modi be in being able to find a middle ground to some of these issues?
So this is what you're talking about trade, right? Give and take. This is not the personal relationship. This is the trade relationship. Every country has a relationship. Every country, whether it's America, France, Britain, or China, they want to promote their product. And India is no different. America is no different. But what helps? The good relationship, cordial relationship makes negotiation more easy than a harsh. So the difference is that the give and take will be very easy. Does that make sense to you? Because if you have a bad relation and now you're negotiating, it's a really bad negotiation. But if you have a good relation, you can always negotiate better. Now it is up to India. How do we want to negotiate with them? What we want to allow them and what we want to sell them. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. Negotiations need not be very messy and ugly if there is some sort of a rapport between the two leaders, and that's what you're saying. And I agree with you there. Two questions I want to ask you, Mr. Gaekwad, as we wrap this up. One is around coming back to the Indian American community because a lot has been spoken about in this election, particularly with Mr. Trump's tweet, his message, where he, reached out to the community on Diwali. He also raised the issue of Bangladeshi Hindus, something that many felt was absolutely unthinkable for an American leader to do. What was the response of the community to that message and the larger messaging that was coming from the Trump campaign?
So when first time he ran in 2016, I have a video recording to prove you. He says, I'm a friend of India. I'm a friend of Hindu. I'm in a politics for 34, 35 years. I have never heard even a local congressman or a president ever use the word Hindu. 2016 was my first time President Trump says, I love Hindus, I love India on a national television, not Indian television. So that speaks his promise to our country. 4 years he was in the office, he did nothing to hurt us, everything to help us, whether we have dispute with the China, whether we have terrorism problem, whether we have visa problem. If you remember, he gave us a plenty visas. He gave us processing fast because he understands the family values. Because we are all foreigner here in a sense, and our families are there. He understands it. Another best thing, he has a lot of investment in India. He understands India. See the difference between somebody who never been in India, don't understand India, never worked with the Indian. He has a lot of Indian in his administration. So, so this is very, very important that he understand India. Now it is up to us, the leadership in New Delhi and Washington, D.C. ambassadors. They need to take the opportunity, not Trump. Remember, there are 200 countries want to do the same what we want to do. So we need to be in the front of the line, not in the back of the line. So this will
Very
help
important.
like tremendously.
Very important what you said that we need to also be proactive in our reaching out. Final question to you, sir. Do you expect more Indian Americans in his administration? And if so, where do you see them? In what kind of roles and positions in Trump 2.0?
We have very bright young Indians under 40, 45. They were in his administration. They will be in his administration, including my own Ocala Congressman, Mike Waltz. I just heard this morning twice on a national TV that he may be considered for the Secretary of State. Believe me or not, his name is Mike Waltz, Congressman. He was a lieutenant colonel in the army. He fought in India against Pakistan. His best friend, actually his sergeant, was killed in front of him by ISIS. And he wears the bracelet in his hand for his name. He came to my house to eat. He showed me that bracelet because my son is also training in the Special Forces of America. So he showed him, he said, I love India. This Pakistanis did this to me, in my friend, they kill in front of, because they were very close to catch Osama. And when they came very close, they told them, go back. So he understand a ground reality where very few Indian could even go there. See, he was there to take a bullet for the country. He was ready to fight for the terrorism. So if he becomes the Secretary of State or even, Defense Secretary, this is a God's wish has come true for India. Uh, I still remember he came on August 15th from Ocala, my two congresspersons, Kat Kermack and Mike Waltz. They're both from Ocala, my city, came to India on 15th August for the flag flying, that 15th August with the Narendra Modi a couple of years back when he came to America.
Yes.
Imagine out of 435, only 2 of them show up from my city. So influence is within us. We can influence our congressman. We can influence our senator. This time my luck is so good. Very good friend. I'm a supporter of him day and night. Last month I had at least 3 times, different time dinners with him and a lunch with him. Rick Scott, who may be the Senate Majority Leader. We are the ambassador of India. We don't expect ambassador of India to do anything because they can't do nothing for my senator or congressman. We do it.
Yes. Yes. Very, very important messages that you have given. It's a very important.
Ask me one more question.
In fact, reflect on. What is it that you would like to say, Mr. Gaekwad, in the end? Yes, yes. What is it that you would like to say, sir?
Ask me why India keeps sending ambassadors who are ready to retire, and the day they land in USA, they're calling New Delhi to find the next job. Why?
Mr. Gaekwad, let's have that discussion offline. But thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking to NDTV. And you've been as candid as enough. As always, you've been as candid.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Having me on NDTV. I'm looking forward, and thank you again.